I'm Phil Thompson. I'm a Bidjara man from Central Queensland. I'm the co-founder of Native Secrets.
Peter Peckham, Senior Rugby Elder, and my role is Cultural Advisor.
And we started Native Secrets because we found there was a disconnect between our communities, and we wanted our communities to start talking to each other again. And the best way we thought we could get people talking again was around our bush foods and our medicinal plants. Over many millennia, our people have survived this country. It's one of the harshest climates in the world. And somehow we've survived over 65,000 years. Our people were so in tune with the environment, we learned all the medicinal plants, all the bush tuckers to help us through that survival period. The risk we have right now is ensuring that we capture all that information from our old people, particularly from this man standing right next to me. He's one of the last knowledge holders of this information. And we feel it's part of our responsibility to capture those stories and knowledge to share with the rest of the world. Our dream is to utilise this knowledge to produce complementary medicines that benefit people around the world, and at the same time, everyone's starting to share our story of our 65,000 years history. Apologies we can't make it there tonight. We wish we could have been there, but we've left you in great hands. Brendan Ryan, he's a scientist. He represents our brand. We're very fortunate to have Brendan in the team. He talks a bit funny. Most of the time we can't understand what he says, but we love him. He's going to represent us, and we'll have a good night. Good day. Good night. Thank you.
Awesome. So as I said, Phil and Uncle Peter couldn't join us today, but I'm thrilled to have Brendan Ryan joining me on stage to have a little bit of a chat about Native Secrets. And for those of you who have had bio breaks, you may have noticed some special little products in the bathroom today for us as well. But welcome, Brendan. Thanks for joining us. So I want to just jump into this because you do speak a little funny.
I do.
And, you know, you're not First Nations, but you've joined this incredible company. Why and what's the motivation, and what do we need to know that is the most important thing to know about this business?
Okay.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
But, you know, and in a short period of time.
Yeah, and language warning vowels will be harmed in this conversation. The first reason I'm involved is you've seen two of the founders, and the third is Cherie Thompson, who's a Wailwan woman from central New South Wales. These are three legends, and they should be celebrated Australians, and I think they will be. So watch the space for these people. They're actually magical people. The second thing is Native Secrets do some really cool stuff. First of all, we started doing land remediation, biodiversity management, and land management using indigenous practices. From this, we actually started harvesting native plants, use green energy to actually extract the bioceuticals, and then we actually put the waste product, which actually mulch and now to become biochar, back into the soil. So we're actually improving the soil, sequestering carbon. So we're a carbon positive business. So we will be saving the environment as well. The second thing we do is we do a lot of cultural immersion and training, and that's where Peter are now. So the MBA students from AGSM are on country in Dubbo, and we actually partner with them, and they do their final project with an indigenous business. So we facilitate all that with them. And ultimately, we actually want to build a retreat in Dubbo where businesses, schools, general public can come on country and have a legitimate indigenous experience run by indigenous people. So that's the future plan. The third thing we do is, obviously, we take the bioceuticals.
That's okay.
And we manufacture a range of cosmetics. Now, these are more than soaps because in this case, we've taken white cypress oil. So when we were harvesting the white cypress, Uncle Pete just comes out with these little pieces of magic every now and then. He said, traditionally, we used to take the white cypress leaf and we used to heat it. And heating extracts the oils. And then we used to apply it to our skins and treat sores, wounds, inflammation, rashes. Okay, so it's an actual bush medicine. So we've applied that now to our skincare range. Skincare, our skincare actually has indigenous medicine in it. The next step for us is researching further around these indigenous medicines. The step after that is to produce a range of treatments for common ailments, eczema, gout, these sorts of things that we can treat. And ultimately, we want to create TGA-approved medicines based off indigenous culture. So that's where the medicine piece comes in. So that's fantastic. The third thing which I love, and it's very, very powerful, is the actual vision of Native Secrets, and I can actually easily show it.
Yeah.
So if I could get this out, can you just help me and just roll that out?
Oh, this is fraught with danger.
Yeah, sorry.
Not
I wasn't
really.
quite sure. Okay, this is a visual representation of the timeline of human existence on this land. Okay? So as Brenda mentioned this morning, we're all Australians, this is all our history. 1 centimetre represents 100 years. Okay? Me as a new Australian, I've been here 20 years, so 2 millimetres is my lifespan in Australia. 2 millimetres. For those of us from colonial days, our life cycle on this map will be maximum 2.5 centimetres. For those of us with indigenous blood, your timeline is this entire ribbon. It's phenomenal. Okay? It's beautiful. I love it. I actually get quite emotional. The one problem is this last 2.5 centimetres, okay? This is Captain Cook arrived 1770 August, 253 years ago next month, okay? This is where the red ribbon started. And while Australia's got many beautiful things that should be celebrated, as Brendan talked about this morning, there's also a lot of sadness, okay? And it's created a divide between Indigenous and non-Indigenous cultures. It makes the conversations really hard. So what Native Secrets want to do is take all this wonderful legacy, which are currently Native Secrets, hence our name, and share them. Because if we can have Indigenous and non-Indigenous communities talking in this safe, positive space, we can actually learn to communicate, learn to trust, and actually aid the reconciliation process. So that's the actual real aim of Native Secrets.
Thank you for sharing that, and a massive thank you to both Phil and Uncle Peter, because when they shared that with me on the call with you the other day, I just want to recognise that's not something for us to share about the green ribbon.
Correct.
You need to be inducted and you need to be culturally trained and go on country to walk that journey with them before you can share that the same way. But that was something that they wanted to, explicitly share with you all today, that, in addition to the business, it's actually about changing where the conversation starts, and who it's being led by and how it's being curated and cared for, and it is First Nations led. So
Correct.
I guess with that, for me, if I can ask you to capture both your sentiments, and it's very heartfelt, and I love the fact that you're a bit emotional like me, so we can have a good cry together later and laugh. And maybe stomp our feet and get a bit sweary if we need to. But we are talking about shifting the mindsets in medicine, but I think it's even more important that it's shifting the mindsets in business and opportunity. If we're to really, truly do that and envision success for Native Secrets, if that mission is achieved, what does it look like both for the business but more broadly in that vein of conversation?
So success for us, apart from saving the climate crisis and changing the way we think about culture and reconciliation, we want to create a uniquely Australian brand that's global. And it's a brand that all Australians can participate in and all Australians can be proud of. But as Michaela mentioned earlier, it's about that Indigenous IP and preserving that. So it is very, very strongly based off that Indigenous IP.
So I think you're just getting started. I think if you could see from that representation, there is so much more to learn and do, and for Native Secrets to lead us on. And there's a big picture around health that you want to get into. But if there's one thing, we are asking people to lean in today and to help and support, what do you need from the people in this room, and more importantly, the networks that they all have, because they all have very large black books of people, so they know everybody.
Yeah.
What do you need, and what do you want them to do to engage in this conversation and to help you on the journey, to help you all on your journey?
Yeah, well, we have a challenge because we are 100% Indigenous owned. We want to preserve that. So a traditional investment model doesn't work for us. Okay, we want to actually protect that IP and make sure the benefits go back to community. We are scratching the surface. We've started research on one plant. Outside that window is the world's biggest medicine cupboard, and we've got the skill sets to know how to use it. Okay, we need assistance with research. So I was out in country with my kids during school holidays. Uncle Pete pulls up on the side of the road and makes me eat some random tree. Okay, I think he does it to torture me, but this one he was quite passionate about, and he said, this is special to the Wiradjuri people. This one treats breast cancer. And I don't know that from a bar of soap, but I think that's worth investigating. You know, if we can actually research that and take anecdotal evidence of 60,000 years of human trial, test it in a proper modern science environment, blend the two and create medicines out of this, that's worth investigating. So anyone who wants to help us partner with research, I'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Brendan. It's fantastic to have you here today.